Hi, my name is Melissa Free, and I'm an engineer with the Compliance and Permitting section, and today I'm going to talk to you about the RCRAInfo industry application. The RCRAInfo industry application allows you to view, edit, and submit documents electronically. The system allows you to manage notification forms, manifests, and annual reports. And I know you all want to know, how do I get an account? We have detailed step-by-step instructions with screenshots and a PDF available on our webpage. You can find it under both the notification and annual reporting sections on the webpage, and I'm going to briefly walk you through it today. The application is run by EPA and is available on their webpage at recrainfo.epa.gov. If you don't have an account yet, you're going to click on the Register button to create a new account. If you already have an account, the system has options to help you retrieve your username or reset your password. So once you've clicked the Register button, the system will prompt you with two options: the industry user or the regulatory agency user. All of you will choose the industry user registration. Regulatory agency users are for DNREC and EPA employees, and unfortunately, if you create a regulatory user account, I don't have any way to convert it to an industry user account, so I'll have to deny the request and you'll have to start over. So again, we're going to click Continue to Industry User Registration. And I just have a couple quick tips on user accounts. The first is each person must have their own individual account. Sharing of accounts is prohibited. User accounts are linked to an individual person regardless of their employment. So my suggestion to you is that you make your username specific to you rather than your employer. If you change employment, your username will remain the same, and we simply update your contact information and your site permission. So for example, if you work for company ABC and you leave to join company XYZ, your username will remain the same and the site permission related to company ABC can be removed and permission for company XYZ added. You will not create a separate account for each place of employment. And then the last bullet point here, user accounts cannot be transferred to another person. So again, an example, if you work at company ABC and you are leaving, you cannot give your username or password to the person assuming your responsibilities. That person will need to create their own account. But once you've created an account, the next step is to link your sites. You'll select Existing Site and will be prompted with several search options. You can search by site name, address, or EPA ID number. I find it easiest to search by EPA ID number, but if you don't have that handy, you can search by one of the other fields. Once you've selected a site, you'll need to select a permission level associated with that site. The highest level of permission is the Site Manager permission, and this allows you to sign documents in all the modules in RCRAInfo and manage your site users. So you can see there on the left is a screenshot of the page, and the very first permission level there is Site Manager. The remaining four modules are listed underneath there. There's the Annual Report module, the Biennial Report module, the eManifest module, and the MyRCRA-ID module. If you don't select the Site Manager level permission, the remaining levels are module specific, so you'll need to select a permission level for each module that you want to access. The certifier level permission allows you to sign documents. The preparer level allows you to prepare documents but not sign them. So if you're set up as a preparer, your company will also need to have someone set up as a certifier or a site manager in order to sign the document that you've prepared. And then the lowest level of permission is the viewer level, and that's just view-only access to the records in any particular module. Just a note about permission approvals. If your site does not have a site manager approved yet, your request will come to DNREC for approval. One of the very first things I do is verify that the user requesting permission has the authority to access that data. So I look at email addresses and verify that the user's email address matches the company for which they're requesting permission. Contractors and consultants can have accounts in RCRAInfo and can access their client's data, but you have to provide written approval from your client. So if your email address does not match the company for which you're asking permission, you can expect that I'll reach out to you to verify that you have permission from your client to access their data. If your site already has a site manager approved, your request will go to the site manager for approval. It will not come to DNREC. Just a couple quick tips on permission approvals. You'll need to log out and log back in order to see any permission change. So if you get an email saying your permission has been approved, the system doesn't recognize it until you log back in the next time. So if you're still logged in, you'll need to log out and log back in. The other issue I've seen arise a couple times is if your site has a site manager set up, but the site manager is no longer with the company, any permission requests will continue to go to that site manager as long as they are active in RCRAInfo. So if the site manager is no longer there, they often sit in limbo waiting to be approved by that site manager. So if that happens, you'll just need to reach out to me and I can fix that situation. So once your permission has been approved, site managers or certifiers, the next time you log in, you'll be prompted to complete the electronic signature agreement. And this is only for site managers or certifiers because those are the only two permission levels that allow for electronic signatures. EPA uses LexisNexis to verify your personal identity, so it's very important you supply your personal information when answering these questions and not your employer's information. The questions are very similar to what your credit card company uses to verify your identity, such as which of these 4 streets have you lived on, which of these 4 cars have you owned. So you really need to fill it out with your information because it's verifying your identity. And I do want to point out, EPA does not have access to, nor does it store this information. They simply contract with LexisNexis to do the identity verification, and the only thing EPA gets back from that is whether or not LexisNexis can verify the identity. So they'll get back, yes, we can verify the user's identity, or no, we cannot verify the user's identity. If for some reason LexisNexis cannot verify your identity, and there are several reasons for that. If you've moved recently or had a name change, you'll need to submit the paper electronic signature agreement with a wet ink signature. And the system will prompt you to do that. If for some reason it can't verify your identity, it will prompt you to submit that paper electronic signature agreement, and it will tell you where to send it. If you have a site manager set up, it'll direct you to provide that document to your site manager, who can then log into RCRAInfo and approve it. If you don't have a site manager set up, it'll prompt you to mail that document to DNREC, and then I can go in and approve that. So once you log in, the main screen you'll see will be My Sites, and all of the sites for which you have permission will show up here. You can see that I have one site, the DNREC test site, showing up in my account. So once you click on a site, it will show you some basic site details about the site. Across the top, you'll see the name of the site, and on mine it says DNREC test site, the address of the site, and the EPA ID number. That's all in that blue bar across the top. And it pops up on the tab Site Details, and it gives you just basic details about the site, your hazardous waste generator status, the last date that a notification was submitted, the site's mailing address. So again, just basic details about the site. Next to the Site Details tab, you'll see a series of other tabs, and those are the modules available in RCRAInfo. My RCRA ID is the notification module, so that's where you'll be able to see all of your previous notifications and submit new notification forms. The biennial report and annual report module are for submitting your annual reports. EPA created a new tab this year for annual reports for those states that are more stringent and require annual reports. So in odd reporting years, you'll use the biennial report tab. In even reporting years, you'll use the annual report tab. And don't worry, I don't think you can mess that up because EPA actually will lock the biennial reporting module in non-biennial reporting years. So you won't be able to submit a report in the wrong module. The next tab is the eManifest tab, and that's where you'll be able to see all of your manifest data going back to June 30th, 2018, and that's when EPA's eManifest system went live. The next tab you'll see on my screen is WEETS, and that's the Waste Import Export Tracking System. And I don't think any of you will be able to see that because that's in EPA's test database. It's not in the production database yet. So I don't think you'll be able to see that module yet. EPA has also developed some reports available on the industry user application. So you'll see across that top bar next to the home button, there's a button that says reports and extracts. The reports are all PDFs and the extracts are CSV files that can be downloaded and opened in Excel so you can play with the data yourself. And you can see there's only 2 reports available right now. They're both related to eManifest data, but I did want to at least show you where the reports are. And I believe EPA is working on some new reports for the industry user side. So good news. RCRAInfo can be used to meet the regulatory record retention requirements. So you're required to maintain copies of your manifests, and if you're a large quantity generator, your annual reports. And RCRAInfo can be used for that record retention purpose. The caveat is, in order to use RCRAInfo for record retention purposes, your site has to be able to demonstrate that an employee has a RCRAInfo industry account and that the account can be accessed to demonstrate compliance. And just one quick note here, if for some reason, so the disposal facility is required to send the manifest either directly to the RCRAInfo system or to EPA to upload to RCRAInfo. If for some reason your disposal facility is delayed in doing that, you will need to maintain the paper copy if it's not in the electronic database yet. And the last thing I want to talk about today is site managers. So if you are set up as a site manager, your user requests will automatically be directed to you for approval, so they won't come to DNREC. So you'll see across that top bar, you'll see my sites, outstanding site ID requests, and then pending requests. And there's a green oval with a number in it. And that number will tell you the number of requests that you have awaiting action. Site managers are also responsible for their user maintenance. So if you need to adjust a user's permission, you can do that. This happens often if you have an employee leave your facility and you want to remove their permission to access your site's data. And I'm going to show you how to do that, but I do want to caveat, please do not deactivate the user's account. As I said in the beginning of the presentation, the user's account will stay with them no matter what their place of employment is. So you don't want to deactivate their account. You only want to remove the permission level associated with your site. So you can see across that top blue bar, there's a tools button and then there's a link to user maintenance. So if you click on user maintenance, the first thing you'll see are any pending requests you have for users that have requested permission. And then next to that, you'll see my users. If you click my users, it will show you a list of your users that have access to your site. So once you click on a person's name, you can select the site for which you want to modify permission. And if you want to modify permission for more than one site, there's checkboxes there and you can select multiple sites. So once you've selected the sites for which you want to modify permission, you're going to click the blue Modify Permissions for selected sites. And this is where you'll be able to modify the user's permission for each of the individual modules in RCRAInfo. So if you have an employee that's no longer there, you'll want to change all of these to none. But you could also change in the other direction. If you have an employee that is a preparer and you want to be able to make them a certifier, you can do that. So you can change any of your users' permissions right here. And that is all I have on the RCRAInfo industry application. If you have any questions or any issues with RCRAInfo, please feel free to reach out. My contact information is on this slide. Thank you.